Hey everybody, it's your boy Garrett J. White, the founder of Wake Up Warrior and the author of the book Warrior Book, found at warriorbook.com. This is not the Daily Fuel podcast. This is the Date Your Wife podcast. I'm sitting here with my wife. This is like our restart, like 2-3 times in a row now, because she doesn't want to talk about the plants that are sitting right in front of us, blocking our view as we sit on our amazing couch looking out at the ocean. But I can't see the ocean because I got all these plants in the way that should have been trimmed a long time ago. So I'm going to come to you again. And no, that's not our topic. We're going to talk about these plants for a second. Do you agree with me?
I think that where Garrett's going with this is how many things in your life are obstructing your view.
Oh, finally she sees the relevance, ladies and gentlemen.
That you one day are like, what the hell? Why don't I just take care of this? Is it really that big of a deal? So, Garrett, tell me in your life.
Oh, you're asking me questions.
Tell me in your life, what is it that like is subtly in the background that one day you're like, why is this in the way?
Well, it starts first with looking at these plants, because I cut these plants down with my scissors and a knife. Like, I'm not even fucking kidding you. I'm going to hand the phone back to Danielle in a minute. I'm going to grab a knife and I'm going to cut a hole so that I can see straight through from where I'm sitting on the couch to the ocean. Because these plants, why would you have plants in the way and block your ocean view? It's the stupidest idea ever. I'm cutting them down. Now, where else have things obstructed my view? Well, everywhere, every single day. This is why, listen.
You get too busy to see what's going on?
She asked, do I get too busy to see what's going on?
Because sometimes I'll ask you questions about, like, details in the business or, like, pretty much in the business. And you'll fire back and get all feisty with me and triggered. And I feel like you don't really know the answer. Like, do you have the details?
The question is not whether I have the details. I have access to the details at any given time. Yes, this is like Henry Ford. So Henry Ford was famous.
You get mad at me for not. You can't get mad at your spouse or significant other for something that like you're not willing to do or you're not good yourself. So Garrett's like constantly like I'll ask him a question and he gets so triggered, and I know
it's an example.
Okay, I'll ask you anything with the bills or money or financial planning, and then you'll just give me some spout of how I'm not grateful, and I don't know how to approach you without sounding like I'm attacking.
Talk about what the topic is. You want us to save more money.
Yeah, well,
talk about this.
I just like look at the amount of money that supposedly our businesses are coming in, and we live like an amazing lifestyle, and we put some money away for life insurance, but I'm like, I feel like we should be able to put away more. And I think for me, like how I've seen throughout our whole marriage operate, that's why even I was like, hey, we're going to move into this house, and you were like freaking out, and I'm like, thus far you've proven to like wherever I push you or us to go, like you make it work. So like for me, I'm constantly pushing to have more because I know you're in charge of creating like whatever you want with life and business. And although I work and have my own business, I would say Garrett pays for more. I would say you pay like all the bills and I pay for like the trips and some of the lifestyle. But even there, it's like we don't like divvy it up. It's just kind of like Garrett's businesses make more than mine do. And so he primarily pays most of the bills. So I feel like wherever we've lived, it's always kind of been like, ooh, I don't know. Like you've always fought me on it. But then we get there and we comfortably, it's not even like it's a struggle. So then now I'm kind of at this place where I'm like, cool, I feel like we have this amazing house. We have amazing cars. We have an amazing lifestyle. But I'm like feeling like, hey, if our businesses are bringing in this much, like, do we need to be spending this? I'm all about investing in business, but it's like there's times where I'm like, whoa, 30 grand here, 40 grand here, 50 grand here. And I'm like, can we put maybe that 30 or 40 grand a month over here and not just in life insurance? Like, can we put it over here to save? Like, is there anything wrong with saving? Like, I just feel like with the amount of income that's coming in, we should be able to not just live an amazing lifestyle. Does that make sense?
So, you know that we save more money than we've ever saved in our whole lives.
I don't care what we do.
I know, and what you're saying, and that's not even the past. It's like present. And inside of that, you're also requesting, all you were requesting was, you were saying, I want to save more money.
We have. Like, you'll reinvest in your businesses, and you'll like invest a ton of crazy amount in like marketing. And I'm not saying that that's not good, but I'm just saying if we're willing to put all that back into our businesses, can we put back into some of like some family security?
You act like we haven't.
No, I know you come back with the same argument of like, well, we have life insurance.
No, you don't even know what that is, though.
Okay, well, all I'm saying is like if I look at like what we were just generalizing, what we need to live off of for a year, and that includes life insurance, based on what we're bringing in with both of our businesses, I'm like, we should be putting more away, or we should be, I don't know, not like, I don't know.
Do you even know how much we have saved?
No, life insurance.
You keep saying life insurance. You don't
That's
even
the
know
only thing we
You
have.
don't even know what that means.
What do you mean I don't know what that means? I know exactly what
I
that
just
means.
said. You don't
Life
even know what that
insurance.
means.
It's like you die and you cash in on a policy.
No.
Or if you want to cash out, like if you have, say, like $4 million in life insurance, you can cash out depending on like your terms and conditions of the policy that you have. Do you know? Tell me. Please tell me.
Absolutely.
Please tell me, Mr. Detailed.
Okay, let me tell you. All right, she just pushed herself into a corner. I'm about to give her a jab, and a hook.
I'm excited.
And I'm going to give her an
for this.
uppercut.
I'm excited for you to give me the details.
All right, so here's the deal. Listen, my wife has pushed for our life to rise over and over and over again. We've been together for like 18 years. 16 years married this summer. We got a baby on the way. You might be listening to this podcast. We might ever have a baby in our hands. And it might even be in the new Snuggie. Is that what it's called?
It's like a crib. You can't hold them in the.
Tell them what the Snuggie is.
I don't know what it's
And then I'll
called.
come back to my point on insurance. Give them the Snuggie.
I don't know. There was this like bougie like crib thing that somebody told me I have to get. That there's so much technology has changed since I had a baby. This one I guess like rocks it, sings it, and massages its back while being in a straitjacket.
And changes his diaper.
It doesn't do that. I don't know. It's called like a Snoogie. I don't know. It literally looks like a little baby in a straitjacket. But they showed videos of putting the baby in and zipping the straitjacket in. They were like crying, and all of a sudden they're like, "Oh, my special straitjacket!" And they're being rocked back to sleep. So I bought it, and I'm gonna see how it goes.
So the Snuggie was $1,400.
I don't. Think
It was.
It was that much. It was like $900.
It was $1,400.
Do you want me to look it up online?
I do. Look it up on your phone
Why are
and see.
you? Why are you?
My
so
point
committed
being
to
is
that?
this. I'm not. The Snuggie was an opportunity. It was an investment in our children. And a lot of what we do has been investing. And this is a balance that we deal with constantly, right?
You know where you're
do you
good at
save
sales is
do you
'cause
save
you're really
money?
good at reframing. Like you could have somebody like super firm on their commitments and like what they're having to say, and you reframe the shit out of everything to the point where you're like, I think I believe that crazy guy Garrett. He actually might have. Wait, I was really firm in what I was believing, but now Warriors wait for life.
There's only one other human being on the planet who is equal to my gift in this. Do you know who this is?
That's why we battle.
Do you know who that is, though?
I don't reframe.
You know who it is. It's not you. Who is it?
I don't know.
It's a Persian with a long beard.
Sam?
Sam Falsafi.
No, Sam's not like you.
No, Sam is like me, but not like me. He's like himself, but he's his own self, and I'm me. Anyways, like here's the deal. Let me go back to the topic. So here was one of the challenges you have inside a marriage when it comes to money, which is going to be our topic today, is making money, keeping money. That's challenge 2. Challenge 1, making it. Challenge 2, keeping it. Challenge 3, leveraging it. And I should say, I'm going to say there's 4. There's 4 challenges. Let me back it up. Make money, grow money, keep money, leverage
I
money.
just feel like pretenders live an amazing lifestyle and like real business people actually build a legacy. So you have all these people, especially in Orange County, driving fancy cars, living in fancy houses, buying fancy shit. And I'm like, yeah, I mean, you got to make good money to live here. But like, what else do you have to show for it? To me, I want to move past that. And so I know we're like slowly building up, but I'm kind of at the point where I'm like, I feel like I want to push more in business, but there has to be purpose behind that other than just having fancy shit, I guess.
I agree. So we're going to come back to this game then. So I had not any ability in any of the 4 up until 17 years ago when I read the book Rich Dad Poor Dad, and I started down the path of realizing that I could make money. So that was stage 1, make money. By the way, as we're doing this podcast, are they going to be texting us about
I'll go check
going to the barbecue? Because I just had a premonition of another mother who's just as paranoid as you are, wondering where her children are and why they're not returned.
I told her we'd her earlier. We got to finish this up.
All right. So anyways, we're going to be back at the podcast. So we have kids over the house today, and okay, good. We're supposed to be at a barbecue with the kids, and we're doing this podcast, and kids are all showering upstairs, and
They're fine.
our children have best friends that are like their same
Cinco
age,
de
and they're
Mayo.
both
They're
sisters, and
three
it's
drinks
Cinco de
down. They
Mayo,
don't
and
know
they're
what
all
time it is.
completely hammered. So, all right. So I like as a family, you've got to be able to figure out the make money game. Some couples will spend their whole lives just struggling to make money. like struggling. Like, and maybe you're a stay-at-home mom and you've got a husband who's just not getting it done, or maybe it's vice versa. You got a stay-at-home dad and you got a struggling wife who's trying to get it done. Like, our dog's retarded. Anyways, like, whatever the case is, you literally have a situation in which you're trying to make money. Now, once you solve the make money problem, which we struggled for years with, that was me 17 years ago, heading to Hawaii with my wife. I should have been in board shorts, excited to get tan, run around, and have sex with my wife for an entire week. But guess what I did the whole time? I took an entire suitcase with books, and I sat on the beach with an umbrella, covered myself with a towel on my legs and my face, and I read money books and financial books the entire week. Did not have sex, I think, even more than once, maybe if I was lucky.
In our room.
And the entire, no, we didn't have kids. We were just married.
Oh, I didn't like you.
I know, we'd only been married like 2 months and you didn't like me. I was obsessed with making money because I'd never made any. So I'm going to come to Danielle live on the scenes here. I'm sitting on the beach with you in Hawaii. This was not when we had kids. This was like literally the first. I had to push our beds together.
Were you obsessed with making money, or were you obsessed with just like?
No. Hold on. Answer the question, because when you're in Hawaii, I had gotten into banking. I'd read Richard Portad. I'd read a whole bunch of books. I'd gotten into the game of money. I was obsessed 17 years ago to make money. Here we are. We're married. We're in Hawaii, in Waikiki with your parents. I'm sitting on the beach with an umbrella and a chair and towels over my leg. I am reading books all day long, and you're being hot, getting your butt cheeks
hard
tanned.
time sitting though. Like I am. Whether I'm drinking or not drinking, because we actually were raised Mormon and I didn't drink till like later in life. And I am content to just like kind of hang out and be, and like you are not. Like you have to always be doing. So, I mean, that's one of the qualities I liked about you. Like when we were dating, like people would give me shit. I was 18, you were 25, you had a kid. They were like, oh my God, Danielle, you just moved to college. Like, what are you doing? Why are you dating this guy? You could do better. Everybody just like kept giving me shit. And I was just like, I don't know. Like there was definitely a spark between us, but I also was like, it doesn't matter what he chooses to do. He'll find success. He's like borderline crazy and like, but in like a good way. I didn't think of it as like a problem. But then but it's funny because the thing that I kind of like liked about you was ultimately like the thing that I was like, God, stop working. You know what I mean? I like, there's times I'm like, you just need to be here and be present and like chill out. So it was like hard because it was like I liked it and I didn't like it. I was like, turn it on and turn it off. I don't remember what you asked me.
Asked you what your thoughts were about me sitting on the beach in Hawaii studying books while you were laying out with your sisters.
Yeah, no, I just felt like, you know what? I didn't care. What bugged me is like you would start to get like antsy and almost angry. And I was like, hey, you can go ride some waves or four-wheelers or whatever you want to do. I don't really want to do anything. I just want to relax and tan and hang out. And so I felt like on vacations, like beach vacations are always kind of hard for us. Like we had to find a balance. Like I feel like you have surfing. So usually when we have a beach vacation, you can go out and surf or paddleboard or do something on the water to get some of your energy out. And then you can kind of like come back and relax. But even then you're always like reading and doing something and that's fine. I don't have a problem with that. I don't know.
You didn't think anything weird about it?
I told you, everybody always thought you were weird. Everyone was like, oh my God, Garrett. He's always like, everyone always told me I was like crazy for marrying you, crazy for dating you. And they're like, that Garrett, he's just intense. I'm like, I know, it's kind of crazy, but I like it.
Fuck those assholes.
They love you.
That's right. Now they're paying the piper.
Yeah, they love
you didn't bet on the penny stock 17 years ago. You don't get a cash in on the big time now.
Whatever. My family liked you.
My crazy is big time. All right. Anyway, so back to my point on the make money, grow money. So stage 1 was make money. I figured out how to do that. Stage 2 was grow money, which was build a company, build teams, build systems. I did that, and then I lost it, and then I had to go back to hustle. So then I went back to make money. Then I went to the game of grow money, which is build teams, systems, processes. And then I went to the game of keep money. Now, a number of years ago, I became passionate about keeping money. Now, my wife is not as passionate about keeping money as she tries to allude that
you know
she
what?
is.
I shared a story on that was actually a Big Money Stylist podcast, and I talked about when the industry went down and everybody lost money, and everybody wants to brag about how they made money, and I'm like, everybody made money when it was easy to make money. It's what you did after that period of time that creates greatness. And I kind of went into touch base, and I was talking about how you can see things in your life, specifically dealing with your financial situation, where you're it's almost like a tsunami's coming, but you're choosing to ignore that tsunami, and you just keep tucking things under the rug. And I was talking about how before I was yeah, it was just the market crash, and then I was that's kind of bullshit. In a way, I felt like we were running up cards, and we were just kind of living beyond our means, hoping that things would just pick up. And I think part of it is, the market, but part of it was because there's a lot of people that came out of that, that stayed in the mortgage industry or whatever. And part of me is I felt as a wife, even I was ignoring the signs of hey, we shouldn't be spending this. Hey, I should probably do my part, and I can't. I felt like I wanted to trust you, but then I knew I was ignoring the signs. And then it was if you can't learn from your past mistakes, there's no way to grow past it. So I feel in the past, when you're I had teams and all this, I think that's what scares me is when I feel neither of us are very super detailed. So it's we had to be more involved and hire people that are super detailed on the teams. And I think that's where in the back of my mind, I'm always a little bit scared because of what happened before. We didn't have any savings in the past. We were living we were literally living an amazing lifestyle. And we had a great house. I was 28 years old, and I think we just weren't putting things away. And so I get scared because now I feel it's we live this amazing lifestyle, but it's 10 times more abundant. So I'm okay, let's learn from our mistakes. And I'd have to think that both of us are a little bit wiser and smarter with the choices that we make. But that's just kind of where I think back to is am I ignoring certain signs, should I, things before I didn't step up and say hey, I don't think this is a good deal that we're only using our Amex every month to pay off bills, and things like that. And so now I'm trying to not be naggy, not be a naggy wife. And I feel I have pretty good trust with you now. However, it's I feel I didn't do my part in speaking up and saying hey, I want to be more involved, or and I don't even know how to do that as a wife. You know what I mean? So I come at Garrett, I come at you saying hey, let's put some more away, or I want to be more involved, but then I think you get triggered and you feel I'm attacking you, so then I don't really know how to approach it. So my idea was, and I told this to Garrett, and I said, hey, so we have this guy named Jeff. Everybody needs a Jeff in their life, and he's kind of like a human robot, which is probably good for Garrett and I. And he does kind of
he's our CFO.
He's our CFO, and he doesn't specifically do the numbers, but he's in charge of the numbers.
He does the numbers, and he's in charge of them.
But we have other people, teams and stuff.
Large accounting.
Yes.
Teams.
So anyways, I was you know what? I don't want to sit here and argue with Garrett about this. I don't want to sit here and have it trigger him. It's I almost want financial marriage counseling. And I was so I reached out to Jeff, and I was hey, I need a sounding board, and I also need to be more involved, and I need to know what the fuck's going on. And I was so this is a non-negotiable thing, but I want to meet with Garrett twice a month and you and discuss our family financials. Because I think as a wife, it's so hard to not be hey, I love you, I trust you, but what the fuck's going on? And so for me, that was my peace offering, or my solution to being involved, not being ignorant, and having a little more say in our empire, I guess. Gotta wrap it up.
So the piece that she doesn't actually speak to is what I have done.
I feel I
and what I have
feel
done,
you don't hear it.
In our lifestyle and where we are at, we are 18 months to 24 months with nothing changing in our lifestyle whatsoever if every single penny of income in my life stopped today.
But what would you like me to say? Because there's...
But I'm just saying, right now, you haven't even acknowledged that. You haven't even acknowledged what I have done, which is the game of what I have done. I have gone from a place where the only place I would invest money is in the business. I have moved into a place of investing in the family. European vacation last year, not something I would normally do. I would never spend that kind of fucking money on a vacation. I have shifted my psychology.
Glad I pushed you?
I'm glad, but on the same terms, Like, I have shifted into a game of keep money. I put strategies in play over 3 years ago, invested over $1 million just in tax strategy to be able to keep millions of dollars back in our family's bank accounts every single year. I've made massive moves in savings inside of vaults over the last 3 years.
Do you feel like I was a part of getting us to where we are?
Yeah, 100%. But I'm just telling you right now, like, there's a bit of paranoia that exists on your side because you would rather edit pictures on Instagram than be involved in the numbers.
That's not true.
That is 100% true. Talk to me about how it's not true.
This is just you getting triggered again, because oftentimes, I'll say, okay, and I'll ask you a specific question. And then you're like, why don't you just go get on your Instagram? Like, I'm always on my Instagram. And I know it's just your reaction to being triggered and not actually having a clear answer for me. So you can say that all day long.
What are you looking for? I'll give it to you right
I'm
now.
giving, no. And then you're always like, give me an example. Give me an example right now, like at the drop of the hat. So that's just you reframing things and being triggered. And like, I know that about you. And that's why I said, cool, not going to circle around this conversation anymore. We need literally like that's like a good word, like a financial therapist. That's what we need. So fuck off and stop telling me to get on my Instagram.
CFO.
Yeah. So that's, ladies, if I were to give any of you ladies listening to this conversation, just know, like, it is a tough conversation. Like, money is a tough conversation. And whether you're a woman who can take care of herself, it's nice to have a guy that takes care of you. And even if you're the mom CFO, that's what I call Katie, CFO. I'm like, she's like, because she's at home, but I'm like, being even like in charge of the home and kids, like, you're really, really busy. And so it's just hard to be in a place where you can like ask these questions but not feel like you're attacking, be like, hey, no, like, I'm grateful for where we live. But I also feel like I was part of building that. So in the same time, I would flip it and say, like, yeah, like, I'll be like, oh, this is like, I'll say things like, oh, I love our lifestyle. I love this. This is so cool. What we've gone through, what we've been through together. Like, I trust you, this and that. And so I don't feel like that's necessarily communicated to me either. Like, hey, babe, like, thanks for pushing me. Thanks for getting me here too. So it kind of goes both ways. And I feel like
I do gratitude stacks you all the time. I'm just putting it out there.
Okay. Well, I feel like I'm constantly like saying, like, this is amazing what we've done. I think of it as like a team effort. And that's why I'm like trying to get back in. I want to be a part of this team effort. I want to be a part of the decisions. I don't want to sit on the sidelines and be naive to what's going on and then be like, oh, because part of our financial situation in the past was partly my fault. I mean, I know I'm younger than you, and I know that you were paying the bills and I was having the kids. However, I think the financial should be an equal thing. If I'm being honest, whether you're working or not, you should still know, like, it's a partnership. Like, we're building a marriage, a lifestyle, and a partnership. And it's such a stereotypical thing for like the men handle it or the women handle it or whatever it is. And I think it should be done together.
So what do you want?
I want you, babe. You gotta go to a barbecue.
Well, what do you really want? Give me what.
Well,
Talk about it. Give me what you want.
I just feel like me asking you questions and not getting the answers I'm receiving is not working. So what
do you want? You want answers or you want results?
I told you, I'm kind of at the point where I'm like, we live an amazing lifestyle. I don't want to just live an amazing lifestyle. Like, I want to be able, like, to build a legacy, build an empire, and like just have to the point of where, like, if we stopped working in like 10 years from now, we could still live the same amazing lifestyle for years to come, plus like help our children if we needed to. So that's kind of like what I want to build and what I envision. Like, I look at our parents, and like, no offense to our parents, like my parents were pretty successful, and now like they live well, but they can't stop working. Like, my dad builds custom homes. He's 68 and he's still 69. He's still building custom homes. And I'm like, I don't physically, if I'm 69 and a guy, I don't want to physically be on the job building custom homes, but they have to continue working to stay their same lifestyle. They have some investments, they have storage units and other things, but and my dad's constantly been like, I'm tired. Like, he wants to downgrade, get a smaller home. And my mom's like, no. She's like, I didn't know. I want this lifestyle. So in order to like maintain this lifestyle, like, you have to continue to work at the same level. Does that make sense? And so I look at my parents and even your parents, who I think are even less of a ideal situation than my parents, and I'm like, I don't want to live like either of them. I want to like be able to be like, we have such an abundance for our family and for our life, like that, again, when we're 70 years old, we're working because we're passionate about it and we choose to. We have a purpose behind it, and not just because like, fuck, I'm tired and I have to keep paying the bills. Because I've seen, again, our parents, they're not doing it anymore because they're passionate about it. They're doing it because they have to, and they're fucking tired. So that's what I want.
So I have a question for you. Would you be willing to maintain the current lifestyle, even though our businesses are increasing in revenue, not change houses, not level the game up, keep the same game for the next 5 years, and just put all the money away that you want to put away without having to continue to up the standard? Meaning, I'm saying 2 bags, not 9.
2 bags.
2 bags, not 9.
Let me ask you.
I'm saying.
Let me ask you.
No more cars. I'm saying.
I'm not the car guy.
No more houses. I'm saying just maintain the game.
Here's what
And everything else goes pure cash. No, I'm asking you a simple question. I'm asking you a simple question. Would you be willing to do that? Keep it no expense increase whatsoever in our personal lifestyle over the next 5 years, because my businesses are going to go 1, 2, 3x every single year.
Are we going to be able to put
for the next?
Away if we do that?
I'm just telling you right now, 100% of it goes to putting it away. 100%.
What I'm going to ask you. Like in the past, Garrett will tell me no. I feel like slightly bad for a mere second for wanting more in life, and then I'm like, nope, this is where we're going. In fact, you called me a witch this morning, so that was nice. And I'm like,
you said everyone's a witch.
I said, well,
you crazy woman.
Garrett was like, I swear to God, like, because I'll see things and I'm like, that's where we're going, and he'll be like, and then things just happen in our life. But I don't think it's like I'm psychic. It's because I like see something and I'm like, what do we need to do to get that? What do we need to do to make that happen? And sometimes in my heart, I feel like it's so strongly. I'm like, this is where we're going. And I feel like we just create it in our lives. And so I'm like, everybody's a witch. Everybody has the power to create whatever they want based on the based on the conditions where you're at. It doesn't necessarily, I guess it does matter where you're at. But for us, I just felt like, no, this is where I want to go in life, and things tend to happen. So for me, I forgot what you asked me.
It's all good, you know.
Oh, no, I was going to ask you, like, here's what I've noticed with Garrett. Like, you'll tell me, like, it's not possible, we can't go there. I'll push, we'll fight, we go somewhere, in life or whatever. And then it's all of a sudden, like, that becomes the new norm. So I'm like, is my job just to continue to push you to the new norm, or like, do we need to just like hunker down for a good 5 years? Is it going to change our spending patterns? Is it going to change our savings patterns? Is it going to change how you operate? Are we still going to be like reinvesting like a shit ton of money back into the business and not putting any aside? Does 5 years do anything?
Stop saying any. You're insane.
Okay.
Holy shit, you love to go like this
okay.
or that. Like there's
okay. But when I look at the amount, I'm saying when I look at the amount that's coming into our business, and then I look at the amount that it costs us to live per year.
And then you look at how much I save every month.
I'm not trying to trigger you.
How much do I save every month?
Somebody's at the door.
We're wrapping this podcast up. My wife and I are obviously in a place where you need to have some more conversation. So our challenge for you this week, have some conversation with your spouse. Like we said, this podcast, we are never about trying to give you all the answers. We're simply sitting in a conversation of just figuring shit out as we go. So my friends, that's all I got for you. We're out. Have a great week. We'll talk to you next week.